Good morning, ghosties and ghoulies. How are you today? Doing well, I hope. Welcome back to the channel, Pictou NS, and we are going to get right into it with a pick-a-pile reading for the month of August. What I have here, I've already pulled out 3 piles, and what I'm going to do for those of you who are new here, I'm going to pull 3 tokens, and whatever token resonates with you, that will be the pile for this month. So let's get right to it. Okay, so we have the beautiful butterfly for the first one. Second butterfly. So if you are drawn to butterflies, the first 2 piles might both be for you. They're both very different butterflies, actually, so that we'll get into that. But this one just shows the 2 wings, which might mean midpoint of a transformation, or not an incomplete transformation, or a journey that you're still on as far as transformation goes. And this is a full winged butterfly, which means it's all about completion of a transformation. So, but it's definitely transformative energy, metamorphosis, that kind of thing. So if that's the kind of thing you're interested in, then that'll be the 2 piles for you. Okay, the third pile is about scissors. Scissors are about cutting through problems, cutting through issues, also endings and severing. So if you're looking at some journeys that are coming to an end, this might be your cards. It can also be about cutting through problems and mending things, cutting to mend in a way. It's almost an element of destruction involved in the scissors, but it's destruction for better ends. So if you're interested in any of that kind of energy, or you're drawn to the scissors for any reason, then the third pile will be yours. All right, let's get right into it. We are going to start with this beautiful 2-winged butterfly, which you can see. Again, it's all about transformation, but this is kind of midpoint transformation because you can only see the 2 wings on the butterfly rather than the 4, and it's simply the way the butterfly is situated, but that's kind of the more meaning behind it. So let's have a look and see what your cards say. Okay, so first of all, you have the Strength card. This is about, the Strength card is about being kind, compassionate, and caring, but also having boundaries. So perhaps you might be looking at transformation and feeling like you need to have boundaries around it. Maybe not telling everyone about what you're doing or how you're working to transform your life, because you are in this kind of fragile midpoint of transformation. Sometimes if we tell people too much about what we're doing and too much about the transformation that we're trying to make happen, not intentionally, but people can interfere with or slow down that transformation, because it's your path and it should be done the way that you want it to be, but everybody has opinions, right? So rather than suffering the opinions of everyone around you and having that influence you or slow down or alter your journey, perhaps you are being led to have some firm boundaries around what you're doing over the next while, as far as whatever transformation you're trying to make happen. And part of that might actually require you to pull back and try and regain some energy. The 4 of Swords is kind of almost a retreat from battle in a way. And this, because it's in reverse, says that you've been actually fighting quite hard for this transformation, fighting quite hard to make things transform and change for yourself. And it might be a time that you need to actually pull back from that a little bit and give yourself a little bit of rest. This is kind of the feeling around the card is like retreating to fight again another day. So you might feel like if your transformation is stalled or incomplete in some way, it may not be over. It might just be a midpoint where you need to actually find some rest and retreat for a while from it. And I think that that is the case because of this card, which is all about regaining energy. It's regaining strength, regaining energy, regaining resources in order to continue to complete your transformation. So you might be in this midpoint place where retreat and rest are needed, as well as trying to regain and reaccumulate energy and even physical and material means to make your transformation happen. So you might need to actually stop, take a break, regain your energy, and then move forward. And I think if you do that, what you will find that the transformation starts to move easier, because this is actually passage away from a problem. So whatever the hang up is or the barrier is for your transformation, I think the rest and the regaining of your energy, regaining and stockpiling of resource will be the way through the transformation in a faster and easier way with this this card. Out of that, you have help in it, because there is somebody here who I think is coming in to help you in a way, or trying to help you in a way with this journey, and trying to help you out of the problems involved in the journey. You have this King of Wands energy. Kings are protectors, providers, and leaders. And this is somebody who's going to be actually helping you build, grow, or do something. The Wands are a creative energy. They're also intellectual, but they tend to make things happen. That's what they do. They're doers of the deck. So this is somebody who's coming in to try and help you to move through a problem and to get to a solution faster or easier. And it might be someone around you already, or it might be somebody that's new coming in, but they have good ideas and they have good ways of good methodology of getting things done. So that might be somebody that's coming in to try and help you move through this situation easier and faster. Unfortunately, I think that you might be a little bit resistant to it because you want to own the process here. The 3 is about being, it's a wandering card, but it's also kind of being the king of your own ship, the king of your own castle, the captain of your own ship. And I think that with this energy, even though it is a helpful energy, you might find that you're a little resistant to it because you want to be feeling like you're captaining the ship and that you own the process of your change and your transformation. And you might be kind of looking at the advice that's being given to you and kind of rejecting a lot of it. There's some of it that you are actually going to take on board. I feel that you're looking at that as a good idea, but there are other ideas here that you might find that you're kind of looking at them with an eye with discernment and deciding that they're not the way for you, and that actually might lead you into a process of actually carrying more burden than you would carry otherwise had you taken on a little bit more advice or a little bit more help. Because I feel like you are rejecting a lot of things here that might actually be useful and helpful to you in favor of actually owning the show. And unfortunately, what that does is it leaves you carrying all of the burden of it too. You might be welcoming this burden to a certain extent because it does mean that you're the one in charge. But here's the thing, you don't have to do all of this work yourself. You can actually have other people come in to help you with some of it. You don't have to carry it all. So that's kind of the advice of the cards and what's coming over the month of August, of Pile 1 people. I hope you enjoyed that. So if you actually were part of this pile, you might find that the next pile is also something that might be useful or helpful to you, because it is also a transformative energy, but it's more fulfilled, it's more complete, a transformation. So let's have a look and see what those cards are saying. Okay. There is a transformation, definitely some transformative energy that's happening here, lots of it. And I can see kind of why it's happening. And I understand why this completion butterfly is more complete than the first butterfly. First of all, this is about release of grief. So whatever transformation, whenever we make a transformation, there's always something that we leave behind. If we change homes, it's our home. If we change our body, it's the way we used to be, or our process of doing things in the world, our jobs, those kinds of things. There's always something that we are releasing when we change or transform. And oftentimes we don't take the time to actually grieve those things that we leave behind. This is the advice in this, is that you might go through a period with this transformation of having to let go of things that you hold close to your heart and things that you might find that you are releasing some grief around. And that is perfectly okay, and it's perfectly natural, and it's perfectly normal to do that. I do think that it's necessary in this journey as well because of where the cards are leading me. I feel that once you move through this period of grieving the things that you're leaving behind, the parts of yourself, the careers, the friends, whatever it is that you are leaving behind in favor of transformation, once you grieve that, you're going to move into a period of great power with the Magician. And this is where you walk into your own power and you feel like you have all of the tools, information, education, everything you could possibly need in order to make what you want to have happen in your life. And I do think that that's something you're going to be harnessing after you move through this period of letting go, because you move into a period of abundance and celebration. So along with this feeling of empowerment and this feeling of you have everything you need, there is a lot of celebration around it. Now, there is a caveat and a caution in that celebration. It is not the time to relax at this point in your transformation, because if you do, there is a tendency towards overindulgence and a tendency towards immaturity in it. This is a card of childhood and resting in like the joy of childhood and the innocence of childhood and messages and things around that. But here's the thing. If you get into this energy of indulgence and I'm just playing and I'm just having fun all the time, it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing, first of all. But it can, if you take it too far, slow your process down and slow your transformation down. So this is kind of it's like, yes, enjoy the celebration. Yes, enjoy the power that comes along with your change you're making. But know when to do business, know when to do the work, and to not always be in this celebratory mode. Because if you can do that and find this balance between celebration and responsibility, you will find that you are very successful in what you're going to be doing. This is the solitary enjoyment of the material world. So whatever this transformative process that you're moving into, it's actually bringing you into a place of feeling like you are okay in the world and that you're enjoying the world and you're enjoying your money and your career and your friends and your family and your body and everything around you. You're actually in a period of enjoyment, and it's solitary enjoyment. It's something you built for yourself. But here's the thing. When you get to this point, there is a recognition, and it kind of echoes back to this card, which is about sorrow in a way, and about releasing grief and letting go of things. When you get to this point, with so much power and so much enjoyment in what you're doing, you are going to come to a point where there's a recognition that this thing that you moved away from is gone. So this transformation is going to bring about a tower moment for you. And the tower is about tearing things down. And this is a necessary transformation, but it is a transformation that is not, you can't go back after this. There's no going back after this. This is a complete destruction of the way things used to be. This is a complete destruction of the tower and you're not building anything on that space anymore. This is just gone. So I think that this grieving process is going to be part of this. It's like the recognition that, oh, that part of my life, how I was, that career, those friends, that relationship, whatever it is that you're releasing over this month, you're going to come into a period where there's a recognition that it is truly gone. And it's going to be important for you to release the grief around that. And once you can do that, you will be in this very powerful position to be really enjoying your life and moving yourself forward for full transformation. But the full transformation is complete in the Tower in reverse. So I hope that was helpful to you. Okay, let's move on to our scissor people. Okay, interesting. I do think that there are severings happening here with the scissors. First of all, there is a sense of you having been working extremely hard to the detriment of yourself, actually. Overwork, over concentration on work, and feeling overburdened and feeling like you're working very hard and achieving very little. I think that this is something that is going to change because there are messages around it that are changing the path. And the path is going to bring you into more balance. The path is going to make it more fair for you, because this feels very unfair what's happening back here. It's like a lot of work, not a lot for it, and a sense of like being almost a workaholic around it. And I think that the message that's coming in is one to do things differently. That's going to set you on a new journey, and that journey will bring you into better balance, and better balance emotionally, especially because you have the Knight of Cups. That Knight of Cups is all about emotional journey. So you'll be taking a new emotional journey that is moving you away from this sense of overwork and overdoing, and into, it's changing your world. The world is going to be changing around you quite a bit, I think. And a lot of it has to do with this severing energy, the severing of this workaholic kind of loop that it feels like you've been in. And it's going to come because there is a decision being made, and there's a decision being made from an emotional place, and it's coming in a way that might be uncomfortable in some respects, because you have the Hangman. The Hangman means that at some point during this journey of this overwork, where you need to transform and cut ties with certain people and certain organizations or that kind of things that are working you really hard and that are taking all your time, attention, and energy, you might be coming to a point where you need to make a decision around those things. And that is not going to be an easy decision for you to make, but there is information coming, emotional information around you coming around the Page of Cups. Pages are about the message. They're the message that sends you on your new quest. This is an emotional message, and for some of you, this might actually involve things like pregnancies, childbirth, that kind of thing. And whatever this is, there's a decision that's being made here, and it's being made because of this message. So this new emotional journey, this emotional message that's coming through, that is going to require you to make a decision around how hard you're working, because it feels like you're working too hard. And I think the message is very clear here that that's part of the case. And the other thing that's happening here is, I do think that there is a severing of ties that is happening for some of you here, because you have this King of Swords in reverse, which is somebody that you're coming into conflict with. And the King of Swords in reverse can be a very stubborn person. They can have a lot of opinions. They can be very arrogant in their opinions. They can be very power hungry. They can be very ineffectual in leading. They can also have a bit of arrogance to them. They can be a little bit cruel when they're in reversal. This will be somebody in a position of power around you, and this will be somebody that you're in conflict with. And I feel like this person might be the person that is making you have all of this burden, and feeling like you're so overwhelmed by the burdens that you're carrying and all of the work that you're doing. It's not appreciated as in the way that it should be. And you're not being given the power that you need in order to enact change in it. So, because this power is kind of blocking power from you. And here's the thing, I do think that the decision you're making is going to change that. I think it's coming from an emotional place. I think it's going to actually be much more balancing for you on the emotional and spiritual level. And it's going to actually bring you into the Ace of Swords, which is a powerful new beginning. And it's somewhere where you're going to feel empowered, and you're going to feel like you have control of the situation that maybe has been out of your control. Okay, so I do feel like you might be severing ties with an old boss, an old job, an old relationship, an old friendship. I don't know what it is, but it does feel like whoever this person is, they're in some kind of position of power with you. And I feel like the work that you've been doing has been very detrimental, and I think that what's happening here is there's a sense of reckoning with it, and that you need to do things differently. With the 2 pages here, this is the creation of messages, the messages around creation and what you should do, and this is messages around emotion. This can also be, like I said, around pregnancies and things like that, because it's the Page of Cups, and there has an element to it. Here's the thing with these messages, I think these are the things that are coming in that are going to make you seek out better balance. And I think the seeking out of the better balance is going to mean that you are going to be severing some ties with things. And maybe it's even bad behaviors, maybe bad habits, maybe the overworking is a bad habit, maybe you're a bit of a workaholic, or you're very stuck in that, and maybe that is one of the things that you're going to be severing ties with, that bad habit. So I do feel like there is some severing here going on, especially with the swords, around the swords. But what it's doing is it's going to give you back your power, and it's going to make you feel much better emotionally moving forward. This is a new emotional journey, and you need to harness your power in it. The decisions you're going to be making, they're going to be difficult, but once you've made them, you're regaining power in the situation. Okay? So hopefully that was helpful to you or useful to you in some way. I have been enjoying doing these readings. I don't know if you noticed, but the light in here is a bit different than it has been in the past. I'm in a new room, and part of that is because we are in the process of downsizing our house at the moment. There's a lot of change, a lot of severing that's been happening with us. Pictou Walks itself has been changing on a fundamental level. I've recently pulled back from doing the ghost walks and a lot of public events because we are in a process of actually, we're in a transformative process ourselves with the butterflies, and we are in the process of getting our house ready to move back to Ontario. We will be continuing, I will be continuing to work in the mediumship psychic field, of course, doing tarot and that kind of thing, but all of that stuff is going to be slowed down and delayed quite a bit because we need to get back to Ontario. We have family that require our help in Ontario, and on more than one level and more than one person, and it's just time to do it. So things are going to be a little chaotic over the next little while for us. There are no more Pictou Ghost Walks. The Ghost Walks channel will continue to exist, and at some point down the road I will probably be rebranding it in some way once we move away from the area and we make the changes that we need to make. But in the meantime, I do have a couple of public events that I'm keeping on the books. On the 21st, I believe it is, of August, we will be at Rock the Boat down on the Pictou waterfront in the evening, and I'll have tarot set up down there. And then in September, at the end of September, I will be at the Sea Glass Coffee House again to do a reading. But we're kind of keeping the public events and readings down to once a month over the foreseeable future, just because there is so much chaos and change going on around us right now that we need all of the time that we can get in order to pack boxes and sell stuff. So essentially that's what life is like right now for me. But having said all that, I am going to try very, very hard to keep these readings going, and to keep bringing you these weekly and monthly reading updates. And hopefully you're enjoying them, because I am, and I would miss them if they were gone, so I'm going to try very, very hard to keep them. Once we get resettled in Ontario, all the new details about everything that'll be happening there will come out, but until then we're going to concentrate on just keeping these up and going and getting what we need to get done. I hope that these readings found you well. I hope you're happy. I hope you've enjoyed your summer so far. And if you have a lot of transformation and change happening around you, know you're protected, know you have angels, spirit guides, and ancestors with you in order to help make those changes happen. And until next time, don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night, because they're there in the light too. Have a good night.